The wind moaned low across the Wyoming Badlands as the stagecoach rattled toward the Iron Star spread. Inside, Eliza Harrington clutched her gloves tight, her heart thumping like a spooked Mustang. She'd traveled thousands of miles from Philadelphia, chasing a future she could scarcely imagine. And now, as the ranch house sharpened against the horizon, she wondered if she'd made the gravest error of her life. Two men waited on the veranda, the Donovan twins. Their letters had sworn they were brothers, steady stockmen seeking a wife to share their hearth. The faded tintype she'd carried showed two weather-beaten grins, and she told herself she was braced for calloused palms and plain speech. But she hadn't reckoned on men like these. They were titans, each topping 6'3", with shoulders hewn from the same rust-red rock as the buttes behind them. Their faces were hard, shadowed by Stetsons and sun, eyes pale as frost on sage. One leaned a hand on the rail. The other stood, arms crossed over his chest. Between them, the house looked suddenly shrunken. The driver cleared his throat. "Miss Harrington," he said, reining the team to a halt. "We're here." Eliza swallowed. "Yes," she whispered. "I see that." One twin stepped down. Dust plumed around his boots with every stride. "Miss Harrington." His voice rolled deep and even, cutting clean through the wind. "I'm Luke Donovan. That's my brother Levi. Welcome to the Iron Star." She tried to answer, but her throat was dust dry. Luke's hand rose, offering aid from the coach. His palm was rough, warm. He lifted her down as if she weighed no more than a saddle blanket, setting her gently on the ground. When she looked up, her eyes locked with his, clear, piercing blue, calm, yet holding something she couldn't name. "You've had a long haul. Glad you're safe." Before she could speak, Levi came down the steps. Same height, same coloring, yet something in him felt sharper, a harder set to his jaw, a wary glint in his gaze. "You're smaller than we figured," he said flat out. "Hope you've got sand, Miss Harrington. This country don't coddle." "I may be slight, Mr. Donovan," Eliza answered, lifting her chin, "but I promise you I'm not frail." Luke's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "That's heartening." Jeb, the driver, started unloading her trunks. All three. The twins traded a quick glance. "3?" asked Levi, brows high. "I wasn't sure what I'd need. I aim to be ready." "Ready?" Luke echoed, amusement in his tone. "Fair enough." They each hefted a trunk like it was a sack of flour. Eliza followed up the veranda steps, her boots knocking the weathered planks. The house smelled of cedar and saddle soap, clean, sturdy, spare. Inside, the main room stretched wide, a river-stone hearth climbing near the rafters. Furniture rough-hewn but solid, sunlight washing the pine floors. For the first time since leaving Philadelphia, a flicker of curiosity stirred beneath her dread. "Your room's upstairs," Luke said. "Second door right. We fixed it best we knew how." Eliza climbed after him, gloved fingers brushing the smooth banister. The chamber was small but sunlit. An iron bedstead, a crazy quilt, a mason jar of prairie flowers on the dresser. That small kindness caught her off guard. "It's lovely," she said softly. Luke smiled, his first true one, and something in it steadied her pulse. "We'll let you rest a spell. Need anything, holler. We're close." That last word sent a shiver along her spine. Not fear exactly, but keen awareness. The house felt cavernous, yet two big men filled the rooms across the hall. When they left, Eliza sank on the bed, hands knotted, trying to slow her racing mind. She'd fled the city's clamor, the scornful stares of Philadelphia society, the debts she could never settle. She'd come seeking partnership, a clean slate. But standing between those two towering figures, she hadn't felt like anyone's equal. She'd felt tiny, foreign, unsure. Downstairs, dishes clinked, voices murmured low. The scent of venison stew drifted up. Eliza washed, changed into a plain charcoal dress, and made herself descend. Whatever lay ahead, She wouldn't face it cowering upstairs. In the kitchen, both twins worked in easy tandem. Luke stirred pot, Levi sliced cornbread. The sight was oddly soothing. "Hope venison suits," Luke said when she appeared. "Oh, it smells heavenly. May I help?" "Bowls in the cupboard, spoons in the drawer." She set the table, trying not to notice how their presence filled the room. When they sat, she was between them, Luke right, Levi left. Deliberate. The stew was rich, hot. She barely tasted it. Luke's sleeve brushed her arm when he reached. Levi's shoulder radiated warmth when he shifted. Her heart fluttered like a trapped quail. At last, Luke spoke. "We ought to talk what comes next." Eliza froze.
"The arrangement," Levi said plain. "We all knew going in this wasn't courtship. It's a marriage contract." "Yes," she said carefully, "but I thought we'd have time to know each other first." Luke's voice softened. "You will. We're not rushing you, Eliza. Preacher Olin swings through once a month. He'll be here come Saturday. A week gives you time to see if this spread, this life, is what you want." Elijah set down her spoon, pulse roaring in her ears. A week? 7 days to chart her whole future. Levi met her eyes. "We built this place side by side. We work side by side. Whatever happens, we do it together." Something in his phrasing unsettled her. She'd pored over their letters on the long train west, every line signed Luke and Levi Donovan, every sentence we instead of I. She'd taken it for brotherly closeness. Now she wasn't sure. "Which of you placed the advertisement? Which of you am I meant to wed?" The twins shared a long, unreadable look. Luke's eyes gentled. Levi answered. "Both of us." The room tilted. Eliza's chair scraped as she stood. "I beg your pardon?" Luke rose slow. "By law, you'll marry me. But this ranch, this life, it's ours together. We built it, we share it all." Eliza's heart hammered. "That's not what I agreed to. That's impossible." Levi's tone stayed level. "Out here, Miss Harrington, things don't always follow city rules. We're not asking you take anything tonight. You've got a week. Mull it." Eliza stared. Two identical faces, one gentle, one stern, both resolute. The world she'd known felt a lifetime away. The wild Wyoming night pressed the windows like a living breath. She'd come seeking freedom and found a choice more perilous than any she'd imagined. Morning sun poured gold over the Badlands. Eliza woke to coffee and sizzling salt pork drifting upstairs. For a moment she lay still, memories of last night settling heavy. The supper table, the brothers' calm revelation, her own shock. She'd crossed a continent believing she'd marry one man. Now she must decide if she could tie her life to two. She dressed, caught her reflection, pale but set. "You wanted adventure?" she whispered to the glass. "Here it is." Downstairs, the twins moved with practiced grace. Luke flipped griddle cakes. Levi poured coffee into thick tin cups. "Mornin'," Luke said, voice low and kind. "Sleep decent?" "Well enough," Eliza lied, taking the chair he drew out. Levi slid a cup before her. She cradled it, grateful for the heat. "Chores today," Levi said. "But first, Luke figured you'd want the lay of the land." Eliza nodded. "I would." After breakfast, they stepped into air sharp with sage. The sky arched vast, a blue inland sea above waving grass and far-off peaks. Eliza had never seen such openness. It made her feel unshackled and terribly small at once. Luke led toward the barn, talking as they walked. "We run cattle mostly, handful of saddle horses. Iron Star's been Donovan land since Pa staked it along the Powder River." "Your parents?" she asked softly. "Gone," Luke said. "Pa 5 winters back, Ma a couple before. Just us since." Quiet sorrow, No self-pity. Eliza glanced at Levi striding ahead, jaw tight, gaze on the horizon. She understood then. Everything around them rose from their own sweat and grief. That bond shocking her last night had been hammered in loss and grit. Inside the barn, hay and leather scented the air. A sorrel mare raised her head, ears pricked. "This here's Cinnamon. She'd be yours if you stay. Gentle but game." Eliza stepped close. The mare's breath warmed her palm. Something inside her unclenched. "She's beautiful," she whispered. "She cottoned to you," Luke said, approval quiet. "Good omen." They spent the morning touring. Henhouse, smokehouse, kitchen garden, corral. Each stop carried lessons and stories. Eliza listened hard, memorizing. The labor sounded endless, yet carried its own hush of purpose. By the well, Levi said, "You'll learn quick. Life here don't heed fancy talk or Philadelphia etiquette. Work hard, earn respect. That's the sum." "I'm not scared of work," Eliza answered. He looked at her. A spark of regard flickered. "Good." By noon, her hem was dust-stained, hair plastered to her neck, yet she couldn't recall feeling so alive. At the table, the hands joined, 6 weathered men courteous. Luke introduced her as Miss Harrington, hats tipped. Talk roared with laughter. Eliza found herself smiling. When the crew rode out, Levi said, "Time for your first ride." "Already?" "No better time. Sun's high, ground's firm." In the corral, Cinnamon waited, saddled. He showed foot in stirrup, grip on reins. When she faltered, he sighed, stepped close. His hands circled her waist, lifting easy. The contact stole her breath. She forced focus. "Don't lock up," Levi said, leading the mare slow. "Let your seat roll with her. There, you've got it." Luke leaned on the fence. "Born to it," he called. Eliza near laughed. "If clinging like death is born to it." "Better than most greenhorns," Levi said, rare grin flashing. By lesson's end, her thighs burned, but her spirit flew. She slid down clumsily. Levi steadied her. Their eyes met, hers wide, his unreadable, but not unkind. "Not bad for day one," he said low. That evening, Eliza sat on the veranda with tea, watching sky bleed crimson. Luke joined her, quiet as dusk. "You're holding up," he said after a spell. "Most Eastern folks bolt inside 2 days." "I'm not most folks," she said, surprising herself with the steel in it. "Reckon not," he smiled. Silence settled easy until the door creaked. Levi stepped out, shadow long in the fading light. "You've been thinking," he said, statement, not question. "I have," Eliza admitted. "I still don't see why it must be both. Why not one marriage? Why not choose?" The twins swapped that wordless look. Luke spoke soft. "We've never been separate, Eliza. Not in living, not in labor. It's how we were raised." "We're partners in all things," Levi added. "We won't ask you stomach what you can't, but we can't unmake who we are." The truth hit harder than argument. Whatever she chose would cost, security if she stayed, pride if she left. Night pooled deep. Coyotes yipped far off. Stars blazed cold above the plains. Luke stood. 6 days left, Eliza. No rush. Just time. But time, she thought, as they went inside, was the one thing slipping fastest. The more she saw of their loyalty, their strength, their care, the harder it grew to picture walking away. That night, wind rattled the shutters. She lay awake, torn between the world she'd fled and the raw, vivid one she'd found. She didn't know her choice, only that her heart no longer knew where it belonged. The days after settled into a rhythm that startled her.
Dawn brought coffee and low male voices. She helped fry bacon, gather eggs, knead dough in the big pine bowl once their mother's. Luke taught garden signs, how storm clouds stacked like plates over the bighorns. Levi schooled her riding till she sat tall, Cinnamon an extension of her own bones. Work was brutal, ceaseless. Yet each night by the fire, muscles singing, she felt pride she hadn't tasted in years. She came to know them. Luke, steady, thoughtful, quick with quiet praise. Levi, blunt, impatient, never mean. When he smiled, rare as rain, it lit his whole face. Together they balanced like twin chambers of one heart. Still the question hung like wood smoke. Would she stay? Would she join this strange family? By the fifth evening, the weight pressed like wind. After supper, they sat on the veranda, sky aflame. "I need to ask something," Eliza said, voice steady though her hands shook in her lap. Levi leaned back. "Fire away." "If I could only accept a conventional marriage, if I chose one, what then?" Luke's gaze held. "We'd honor it," he said soft. "We won't force you. But understand, Eliza, our lives are braided. Choose one, the other remains. We don't split what we've built." "So, I'd still live with both," she said slow. Levi nodded. "See us both, work beside us, break bread with us. That don't change." Eliza stared into the darkening range, thoughts knotted. The notion still jolted, yet beneath it another truth had rooted. She cared for them both. Luke's kindness, Levi's steel. Together they made her feel safe, seen, alive. "I'm not ready to decide," she said. Luke smiled gentle. "Then don't. No hurry." But hurry pressed. The preacher arrived Saturday. Truth rode with him. When the day came, sun rose warm, chasing dawn chill. Eliza stood before the mirror, fastening her indigo silk. The woman staring back had changed. The fragile Philadelphia girl was gone. This one bore sun-kiss on cheeks, calluses on palms, resolve in her eyes. Downstairs, the twins waited in Sunday black, hats in nervous hands. Both looked vulnerable in a way that pinched her heart. "You look beautiful," Luke said quiet. "Stunning," Levi added, throat clearing like the words scraped. Eliza smiled faint. "Thank you. Before the preacher comes, there's something I must say." They straightened, braced. "I came thinking I'd find one husband. Instead, I found two men who showed me true partnership. You've given strength, patience, more kindness than I merited. I don't grasp everything you ask, but when I think of home now, I think of this ranch, and both of you." Luke's eyes softened, relief shimmering. Levi's knuckles whitened on his hat. "I want to stay," Eliza said simply. "I want to marry into this family, however law or world reckons it. I want to build here, with both of you." For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then Luke closed the distance, gathered her close, embrace firm yet careful, voice rough. "You won't regret it. We'll see to that." Levi set his hat aside, laid a hand on her shoulder. "Welcome home, Eliza." For once, his voice held no edge. The preacher rolled up that afternoon, a round, kindly man who'd plainly seen otter in his circuits. He spoke the vows before the hearth, hand standing witness. By law, Eliza wed Luke, But when she pledged, she met both brothers' eyes, and her promise belonged equal. That night, the ranch rang with fiddle and laughter. Men toasted the bride. Eliza danced barefoot in lamplight while the twins clapped and whooped. For the first time in years, she felt wholly untethered, wholly free. Later, guests gone, lamps low, Eliza stood at the window gazing over moon-silvered grass. Luke and Levi flanked her. Together, they watched wind comb the prairie like liquid starlight. "Ever miss Philadelphia?" Luke asked soft. Eliza shook her head. "I thought I would, but here, I can breathe." Levi's faint smile. "That's the West. No soft lies, just true ones." Eliza turned to them, heart brimming. "Then here's mine. I hunted belonging, purpose. I found both here. With you." Luke took her hand. Levi draped an arm light across her shoulders. For a moment, 3 silhouettes in the quiet glow of the Wyoming night, Eliza felt deeper than joy. Peace. Life on the Iron Star would not be gentle. Storms, dry spells, long winters, harder days. But she knew she'd never face them alone. She'd come west fleeing a life too small. She'd found one that tested her, forged her, completed her. From that night on, the ranch was no longer just the Donovan brothers. It was theirs, Luke, Levi, and Eliza. A union built not on custom, but on courage, trust, and love, tough enough to ride the wild Wyoming winds.
And as the first stars wheeled over the endless plains, Eliza Donovan finally knew she was home.